Okay, hi, this is Daniel, and welcome to another artist interview. This artist interview today is with Judy Haas, Telluride, Colorado artist, mixed media, multimedia artist, who I've always been intrigued by your work, Judy. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so glad to be able to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today, too.
Fantastic, fantastic. Tell me about your artistic journey to where you've gotten to right now with the work that you're making.
Well, I have been a professional artist since 1985, so for many, many years. And for many years, I was well known in the fly fishing world for trout paintings that I had done. And at a point here in Telluride, when my studio space had sold in the real estate market, I ended up changing the medium and the purpose of my art. And what I do now is I buy old posters, music posters, European posters, old movie posters, and I embellish them with Swarovski crystals and diamond dust. So it just kind of brings a regular old poster into a place that it's really a work of art.
And how did you get into this idea of embellishing a poster to make it something contemporary, beautiful, like you're giving this new life, and then the jewels that you add, like add this other dimension into the work. How did that come into your world?
Well, it came in out of necessity because I needed to find something that I could do at home that wasn't toxic, like a lot of paint mediums are, not good to live around. And I started doing it. I had an antique shop here in town, and someone brought in this beautiful old French poster. And I had been doing these small fruit crate labels, the original fruit crate labels. And I thought, I'm just going to try this, embellishing this poster. And it was so beautiful. And a lot of people saw it. And a friend of mine asked me to do an music poster for him. So I did the music poster, and then I just thought, wow, this is really cool for rock and roll posters. And so I just started doing that, and then it branched out into all kinds of different posters. And it's really nice because I feel like I'm doing an archive of the memories of my life, and also an archive of the memories of many people's experiences.
Yeah, I
And
really like that. What you're talking about, that you're creating an archive, you're creating like a memory bank for people, a way for them to experience something they may have experienced long ago in a new, fresh way. Now that becomes a future piece of art in their house.
yeah, exactly. And it's like a collaboration also with artists from many, many generations. So, and I also feel like I'm recycling posters that might have be thrown away or something like that, and bringing new life to them.
Yeah, it's like your art has like this Art Deco, Art Nouveau feel to it that you're bringing into kind of the contemporary world. Are there like specific themes, ideas, types of artwork, or posters that you're most drawn to? Like how do they speak to you? And you're like, oh yeah, this one is gonna be just beautiful. It's gonna be so fun to work on.
Well, my daughter, Roxy, who I call Jessica, but everybody else calls her Roxy, who's been in the music world for a long time and writes and plays her own music. She is instrumental in helping to choose all of the music posters because she's so familiar with the music world. And I like doing the old European posters from the late 1800s, the early 1900s. So we work together in choosing the posters that I'm going to be working on in the future. And then I do a lot of commission work where people will ask me to embellish a poster that where they were at a particular concert, and that's really nice too because a lot of this work is connected to the emotions of a person, a concert they went to, music that they love,
Yeah.
movies that they love, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So show us a piece of work and tell us about this process, because it's so super unique. And you have a gallery space in Telluride, right? And what's your gallery called?
Yep. My gallery is called South First Street Gallery because we are on South First Street. So it's easy for people to remember
That's
where I am. I'm sort of off on a side street. So, yeah. So let me show you a couple of the pieces that I've done. So this is an old movie poster from the Cannes Film Festival in the 1960s. And
beautiful.
it was a poster for Lady Sings the Blues. And I found the poster online, like most of my posters I find online. And it's embellished with all these Swarovski crystals. And um, it just takes a regular poster and turns it into really such a beautiful work of art.
Yeah, it makes it so gorgeous and alive. These Swarovski crystals that you're using, like it seems like a very laborious process to create the imagery you're creating. Is that true, or have you found like a method that works to allow yourself to kind of get there in a way that I don't know. I'm not sure. I know about your the way you do it, but it's beautiful. However you do it.
Yeah, so what I do is I have to glue all of the crystals on by hand individually. So it's, I listen to a lot of books when I'm doing this work because it takes a long time. And here's another, this is an old French poster
Oh
that
yeah.
has all these beautiful crystals. So all of these spirals here, they they're all Swarovski crystals that are imported from Austria, and I glue every single one of those on individually. Now, I also use something else called diamond dust, which is broken glass glitter, which is kind of all of this. And that is a different process where I use an adhesive and then um, add that to the images.
Yeah, the dimensionality that you get from your work is just so beautiful. Anytime I've ever been in your gallery space, it's always so fun. Like it fills you up, it inspires you. The imagery you recognize, some of you haven't, but it's always like it always has good feeling to it. And then all of the crystal lighting, the diamond dust and the crystals, like, I mean, that one, look at that as far as like a snow scene as we come into winter. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah. So all of this up here is diamond dust. And I like using the diamond dust because it just covers the whole entire poster. And this poster was done in the 1950s. And it was an advertisement for Western Winchester. And this particular artist, I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but he did a series of posters. And I just love working on his posters because the printing process of the poster itself was really, really special. Um, Here's another one. This one's from the early 1900s, I think probably the 1920s. And it's just an old lithograph of a man looking out over the mountains. Here are some movie posters, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which we all
Great,
remember.
great.
And this is all diamond dust that I used on these.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, here's another Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It was a promo poster for the movie, as most of these are. And then here's some more rock and roll posters. So this one is a Bruce Springsteen poster that is was put out by the record company for Born in the USA. And a lot of these posters, they they were put out to advertise um, particular albums that were coming out, and they were big promo posters for like Tower Records. And
Hmm.
Tower Records doesn't really exist anymore, so they don't make these old promo posters.
Yeah, you've got
So
such an archival collection of entertainment, of history of advertising that you've brought forth into, when you create this work and then you bring it to someone's home to install, or you see it installed in a home, how does it make you feel to see this work at that level that someone is enjoying with as a part of their art collection?
Well, actually, a lot of the times I don't install it. You know, they just I ship it all over the country.
Wonderful.
And so I don't get to see it all installed. But what I do get to do is I love that people like this work, you know, and that it means something to them because they have a connection to it in some way. And another thing that I really like about the gallery is being able to turn children on to artwork.
Yeah,
And of course, they love the sparkles. They come in
for
and they
sure.
ask me questions and they, you know, point things out. And it's just a wonderful experience because I want the next generation to love this artwork, even though they may not have a connection to this particular music, because it's a different generation. It certainly connects them to their parents' generation.
Right.
So
Or
that
grandparents'
is really
generation
fun.
or great-grandparents' generation. You have stuff that goes back to 1900 that you were just showing.
Yep, exactly. So it's really fun. I love turning the children on to artwork.
When you get that kind of inspiration of a happy child, beaming eyes, looking at your work, like how does that influence you with your creative process when you go into your next piece?
Well, that doesn't necessarily influence me other than to know that they love this work, you
Mhm.
know, and that I want to keep doing it, just to build up this history for them to enjoy through many generations, hopefully. And a lot of parents will come in here and purchase a piece for their kids. And I know that, you know, those kids will take the piece that was gifted to them and put it into their homes, and they'll continue
Mhm.
to enjoy it with their children as well. So it'll go through many generations,
Right.
hopefully.
So your work has this potential of a legacy to
Yeah.
tie together generations.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you
So,
what do you see, as the well, for one, I'll backtrack. You've got a successful gallery that you've been running for many years now, and I would say for artists that are able to make a career of their art, whether it's running a gallery or it's making studio work or you combine it with teaching or they have it some other job, how is that something that you can give any perspective on for artists out there that think they want to go into the world and how they can create work that has impact, that has meaning, and at the same time be able to sustain themselves, whether they want to combine it with another career or not.
well, first of all, we've all heard that old adage that says, you know, do what you love and
Yeah.
your success will follow. And, you know, I have been an artist for a long time, and sometimes it's been a struggle to make a living. And sometimes I've just fallen into some really good opportunities. And the opportunity that I have now is having my own gallery. For many years, I would show in restaurants because I could not get into galleries. And restaurants are a really good way for an artist to begin to show their work because a lot of people see the work and
Mhm.
they're not necessarily in there to buy art, but they see something that they really like and they end up buying it. And so for many, many years, especially in my early years, I started a lot of the restaurant shows in the Aspen, Colorado area
Mhm.
and down then into Basalt, Colorado. And then when I moved over here to Telluride, I did the same thing. I went around to a lot of the restaurants and said, can we turn the walls of your restaurant or your coffee shop into an art show? And so I curated the walls here in Telluride for a number of years. And it was really fun, you know, bringing in artists, getting to know the art community here in town, and just doing these remarkable shows, which you do now, right? Don't you
Yeah.
curate the walls at La Cocina? And
Yeah, I curate the walls at La Cucina. We've got a group show coming up in December dozen artists. I've got a portrait painter there right now. So yeah, it's fun. I love the interaction with artists and to give them the opportunity to show their work. It really, from like, I totally understand what you're saying. It creates a different relationship when you're giving someone the opportunity to exhibit, to put themselves out there, to really kind of go into that space and experience it. And your gallery definitely does that, that you have this gallery opportunity. And then sometimes I'll see your work at a local cafe. And I'm like, oh,
Yep.
I love it. I love that piece up there. And, they catch your eye immediately. Um, what is, what does making art do for you? I know you're using it as it's a business, but like, deep within, psychologically, like what is for you the purpose of making art for you and for society at large?
For me, I can't really speak for society at large, but I can speak for myself.
Okay.
And for myself, it's a meditation.
Hmm.
It's a spiritual practice for me because it calms me and it always gives me something to do. As I continue to grow older in years, I feel like I will always have an experience that I can do into my late years. And I love creating artwork. So it gives me an opportunity to just be in a calm space in the day. I
Hmm.
listen to a lot of books.
Awesome.
In the last year, I've listened to over 60 books, the New York Times bestseller books and, books about growth and novels and old books and new books. And, it just gives me a really peaceful time during the day to be doing my work and experiencing what's going on out there in the world
Yeah.
at the same time.
The fact that you're able to combine listening to literary compositions, all these novels and books and biographies and whatnot, at the same time you're working with historical artifacts.
Hmm.
It's a really cool like alignment that you've created there, so that you're able to get into that space yourself, that meditational space. At the same time, you're learning and you're providing a service to others to have them have that growth and that opportunity, that maybe a transcendent experience. They see that poster, and, oh my God, I went to that show 30 years ago. This is the most beautiful thing. Or like, I love that idea that people can bring in a commission to you of, this is a poster I've had for so long. It's been in a tube or it's been on a wall, and I love what you do. What would you do to make this? That must be a really fun experience to help someone make that happen for themselves. That
Yeah.
you're like that guiding light.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And also there's a lot of different kinds of artists in the world. There are authors, and that's
Yes.
an art form.
Yep.
There are people who are in the medical world and write books about their experience in with health. That's an art form.
Hmm.
I listen to a lot of music. They're all artists, and that's an art form. And I watch a lot of documentaries, and that's an art form, film, all these things. So I just feel like I get to swim in the world of the arts of life, really. There are just so many art forms
I
in
love
the
that.
world.
The
Yeah.
arts, the arts of life. That's so beautiful.
Hmm.
What are your future aspirations when you look at your work right now, of where you want to take it in the coming years for yourself?
That is a really good question. I would like to be creating some more of my original images and being able to, I still love to do the embellishing. So, with all that I have learned through the past few years working on posters and the graphic arts, I'd like to create some of my own graphic art type of images. And I've done a couple of them, and they've sold. And I would like to be able to do more of my own images instead of choosing posters all the time. But
Your
for the
own,
time being, it's supporting me, so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
important.
And now, when you say your own images, like your own designs that you would also potentially embellish with the same process?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Yep,
you have
exactly.
anything in your gallery that you can show for that, of your own original work?
I really don't, because every time I do a piece, I sell it right
Mm,
away.
very good.
So, which is good. I mean, I do have a website. It's www.southfirststreet.com. And there are some original images on my website. And then if you were to do a Google search for
Mhm.
Judy Haas trout paintings, you'll
Okay.
see a lot of the trout paintings that I did through the years. They were shown all over the world, and I was a part of a program called The Art in the Embassies. So I showed my work in the embassies around the world. And it was just a really very special time in my life as well. It was just a different type of work. I also did a lot of, what should I say, painting on ceramics. So I
Mhm.
did a series and a show of these beautiful big plates that I did that were inspired by the Audubon prints. They're all birds and just
Wow.
beautiful, big, huge bird plates. And then I was also inspired by Joseph Cornell, who used to make these gorgeous boxes back in the 40s, 50s. He would find stuff in the alleys of New York and just
Mhm.
put these assemblages together. So I did a series of boxes, and that's really how the Fruit Crate label started,
I see.
was inspired by Joseph Cornell. And I've always just loved going to libraries and studying artists' work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's I hope that you are able to kind of build new work for yourself that you can combine with the poster world, the archival posters, your own original work. And the history of your resume is astounding. This work that you talked about of art in the embassies. Tell us more about that.
So it was a program. I'm not sure if they still have this program, but it was a program where there were some galleries like the Gerald Peters Gallery in Santa Fe. An embassy would approach them and they would put in like a Georgia O'Keeffe or something like that. And
Hmm.
I was just in the right place at the right time. And there was a man from Amsterdam who who was a big fisherman, and he wanted to show some of my trout paintings in the embassy there. And at the time, I was showing a few of my pieces at the Gerald Peters Gallery,
Hmm.
and so it was just a wonderful opportunity that happened because of my connections through the art world in Aspen at the time.
Hmm. It's amazing how one thing can lead to another like that.
Yeah, it's so much of our whole life is about connections,
Yes.
It's who you know.
Who you know,
And
what experience you happen to have, how it's, being experienced by somebody else. All of a sudden you're sharing an aha and your commonality. You're like, oh, wow, that's amazing.
mhm.
So you got your website, www.southfirgallery.com. Is that right?
South Fir Street, and it's
South First.
South FIR, like the tree.
Okay.
Southfirstreet.com because of the
Southfirst.com.
street here. Hmm.
Okay. Excellent. And is there any other piece of work that's around you that you haven't talked about? You'd like to feature one other um, piece of art that has some connection for yourself?
Um, wow, I have so much work in here.
Really?
I I don't know. I think the best thing for somebody to do is just to go up on my gallery and look and see what I've done. Um, I have a lot of work, and a lot of it is in storage right now. I hope one day I'll have a few more galleries and be able to show the work, get it out of storage and put it on walls. And I continue to show at the Butcher and the Baker here in Telluride because it helps bring people down to my gallery.
Yeah.
And so I think artists, in summing up some of this, I think that for artists who are working at home and just trying to get their work out there, I think that the restaurant is a really good avenue if they cannot get into the galleries. And
Mhm.
then there's, of course, here in Telluride, there's Telluride Arts, and they do special shows here.
Mhm.
And there's a really, really nice art community in Telluride and also in Ridgeway that is growing and expanding, and there's a lot of opportunities for people to become recognized with their work.
Yeah, it's important for artists, if whoever's watching this around the country, to like tap into your community, the arts district, what creative industry is going on that's helping to support local artists to get their work out there, to get grants and so forth, different juried opportunities, exhibition opportunities. Lastly, Judy, what are you working on right now?
Um, I have actually closed my gallery for the off season that we have here
Okay.
in Telluride. And I'm just working at home. I'm working on, I have several commissions that I have to complete.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to work on a couple of big, huge, old European posters that I bought when I visited Paris last October. And I want to have them hanging in my windows for Christmas. They're
Oh,
Christmas
wonderful.
oriented. So that's what
Very nice.
I'm doing.
Well, I will make sure to get down to your gallery at that time when you reopen and the season starts again to see this new work that you've been producing. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share your wisdom, your history, your story about the work that you're making, your love for connecting with others. And, thank you very much. Really, it's been an honor.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to have an interview with you.
All
And
right.
I look forward to seeing your work here in Telluride more often too.
Yep. Get it out there when I can.
Okay.
Yes. Well, very good. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you, Judy. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And again, please check out Judy Haas's work on her website. You could probably just Google her name and you'd be able to see these beautiful embellished posters. If anyone has a personal piece of a poster from somewhere they've been and they want to have it embellished, Judy is the woman to do that for you, to make your work a contemporary, beautiful piece of artwork that would be showcased in your home. So thank you very much, Judy. You're awesome.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, I
And
really
have a
appreciate you.
lovely day today.
Yeah, you as well. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
You got it. Thank you for tuning in to another artist interview with Breakthrough Your Art, and we'll have more to come.
Sounds good.
And I got to press one more button here.